Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world, with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 30 minutes. All-party delegations start returning home after concluding highly productive visits to key partner countries, successfully showcase India's continued fight against terrorism. South Korea votes in snap presidential election, Liberal Party candidate projected to win people's mandate. Kremlin says Ukraine peace efforts complex, no quick decisions possible. Reaction comes after two sides fail to reach ceasefire agreement in second round of talks. And IPL all set to witness a new champion tonight as Royal Challengers Bengaluru all set to face Punjab Kings at Ahmedabad's iconic Narendra Modi Cricket Stadium. A very good evening to all the viewers joining us at this evening broadcast. To begin with the latest, the all-party delegation led by BJP MP Baijayant Panda returned back to New Delhi after its four-country visit, which was Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain and Algeria. The delegation led by Panda includes BJP MPs Nishikant Dubey, Pangnon Konyak and Rekha Sharma, AIMIM MP Asaduddin Owaisi, Satnam Singh Sandhu and Ghulam Nabi Azad, along with former Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla. The delegation, during their visit, briefed the international partners on India's response to the 22nd of April Pahalgam terror attack and Operation Sindoor, its broader fight against cross-border terrorism while engaging with the leaders. Panda also highlighted Pakistan's misuse of funds for terrorism and its military, noting that the other Islamic countries had taken a strong stand against any kind of fundamentalism in their country. As part of India's continued efforts under Operation Sindoor and in line with India's principled and resolute stance against terrorism, different all-party delegations are conveying to the world India's strong message of zero tolerance towards terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. All-party delegation led by BJP MP Ravi Shankar Prasad interacted with the media in London. The delegation spoke about the need for strong and determined measures against terrorism. Group 7 of the all-party delegation led by NCP-SCP MP Supriya Sule held a meeting with Ahmed Abul Gheit, who is the Secretary General of the League of Arab States in Cairo, Egypt. In a sign of strong relationship between India and Brazil, the multi-party parliamentary delegation was today received by the South American country's top leadership, including the Vice President. The delegation, led by Dr. Shashi Tharoor, held productive discussions about cross-border terrorism. DD India correspondent Shobhan Saxena gets us details on the meetings and positive response from the Brazilian side.
Long and busy day for the Indian parliamentary delegation here in Brazil today, but it was a productive day, as the delegation led by Dr. Shashi Tharoor met some of the top politicians, diplomats, members of Senate and Congress across the city. The most important engagement of the day was the delegation's meeting with Brazil's Vice President Geraldo Alckmin, who's acting president as President Lula is traveling abroad. The delegation's day began with a meeting with Celso Amorim, who's a special advisor to President Lula. In the meeting, Dr. Tharoor explained to the Brazilian side how India has been a victim of cross-border terrorism.
Well, it's been a very productive and constructive day. We had an excellent meeting with the diplomatic advisor to the president, who is, of course, the key player. And he's an old friend of mine. He was very supportive and fully understanding of our message. And we subsequently had a discussion with the president of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, who also presides the India-Brazil Friendship Group.
Later in the day, the Indian delegation met the Vice Foreign Minister Maria Rocha, and Dr. Tharoor explained to the Brazilian side how Operation Sindoor was an operation against the terror bases in Pakistan and no civilians were hurt in the Indian attack.
The acting Minister of Foreign Affairs was very receptive, tremendously warm and cordial discussion with her key people responsible for Asia Pacific in Brazil. And again, I would say very frank and constructive and positive exchange, at the end of which we were left in no doubt that our position had been fully understood and appreciated and supported. We're trying to get out of all of these visits a sense of solidarity with our struggle against terrorism, and I think we're getting that wherever we go.
In the meetings with the Brazilian senators and congressmen, the members of the Indian parliamentary delegation explained to them how India was a victim of terrorism coming from Pakistan. They were pleased by the response from the Brazilian side.
There was a great amount of connection with all the meetings we made because we are two great democracies. We are progressing along a path of peaceful rise, and we are also part of the BRICS nation. So in all the three meetings I attended, there was a great amount of understanding from the Brazilian side of our predicament. We do want to be a peaceful nation, but without the scourge of terrorism. And therefore, there was very broad support, firstly with the very personal advisor to the president who met us in the beginning, then the Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs, and other members of the parliament.
The parliamentary delegation also visited the Indian embassy in Brasilia, where they interacted with the members of Indian community and some prominent Brazilians.
All the meetings have been very successful in the terms of conveying our concerns against terrorism, which India has suffered for the last so many decades, particularly the cross-border terrorism. And at all levels of the government, in the parliament too, the Brazilians have shown their understanding of our concerns.
After the successful visit here in Brasilia, the delegation left to Sao Paulo on their way to the United States. This is Shovan Saxena for DD India in Brasilia, Brazil.
Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has sacked 3 government employees who were working for Lashkar-e-Taiba and Hizbul Mujahideen. According to the sources, the 3 sacked employees who are in jail are Malik Ishfaq Nasir, a police constable, Ejaz Ahmed, a teacher in the school education department, and Wasim Ahmed Khan, a junior assistant in Government Medical College of Srinagar. Since taking office in August 2020, Manoj Sinha has prioritized weakening terrorism infrastructure by targeting both active terrorists and their support networks, including overground workers and sympathizers embedded in the government institutions. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit Jammu and Kashmir on the 6th of June, marking his first trip to the region since the deadly terror attack took place in Pahalgam. Prime Minister will inaugurate the mighty Chenab Bridge, which is the world's highest railway bridge, standing tall in the Union Territory. The bridge, which is a part of the Udhampur-Srinagar-Baramulla railway link, has been built to withstand nature's toughest tests. It is indeed a proud symbol of New India's strength and vision. Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan, while delivering a special lecture on future wars, spoke about the success of Operation Sindoor. He added that operation was a big achievement and it created history.
Operation Sindoor created a kind of a history of sorts as far as air warfare is concerned. Successful operations were carried out against an adversary which was almost equally mathematical. It is not operations against an adversary which had no air force or no air defense worth a shot. So it was against an adversary, and against that, if you are able to carry out relentless operations deep inside with precision and offensive in intent, I think that was a big achievement, and we were able to penetrate those air defense networks with impunity and at will.
Moving on to weather updates now, the Indian Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert for 11 states, including UP and Punjab, warning of intense rainfall, thunderstorms and potential weather disruptions. In the IMD forecast, it has been cautioned that heavy rainfall would persist on the 3rd of June in northeast Indian states of Assam, Manipur, Mizoram, Meghalaya and Tripura. In a press release, the IMD stated the region would continue to witness rainfall activity for the next 5 to 7 days. The weather forecast for Delhi today indicates possibility of mostly cloudy skies, mild rain, thunderstorms and strong winds. The highest temperature is expected to be between 35 and 37 degrees Celsius, providing some relief from persistent summer highs. The IMD has further issued a yellow alert urging the residents to stay weather aware. Meanwhile, the flood situation in Assam has significantly aggravated, with Sribhumi being the worst hit district, followed by Kachar and Nagaon. According to the Assam State Disaster Management Authority, the river Brahmaputra, Barak and all their tributaries are flowing above the danger level. Rescue operations are ongoing round the clock. State government has opened 165 relief camps and 157 relief distribution centres. District administrations have deployed SDRF teams for rescue and relief operations. So far, one person has died in the district due to flooding. In Sikkim, the first group of stranded individuals was successfully air evacuated from Chaten on Monday. Two Mi-17 V5 helicopters completed the evacuation mission, landing safely at Pakyong Greenfield Airport with 34 evacuees aboard. Apart from the valley areas of Imphal East and West, Taupul, Bishnupur and Kakching districts, flooding has severely affected several villages in Senapati, while landslides have been reported from Ukhrul, Parzol, Noni and Tarmanglong. Authorities have opened 31 relief camps, reported damage at 14 infrastructure sites and confirmed that at least 3,365 houses have been impacted. Approximately 1,599 people have been relocated to safer areas. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Chief Minister of Assam, after which Himanta Biswa Sarma wrote on microblogging site X, and I quote him, "I briefed him on how continuous rainfall in Assam and adjoining states has led to flooding and impacted many lives. I also apprised him of the relief operation undertaken by the state government. The Honourable Prime Minister expressed concerns and assured full support from the central government for our relief and rehabilitation efforts. Grateful for his guidance and unwavering support to the people of Assam." Unquote. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Sarma visited the flood-affected Kachar district today. He inspected the district's relief camps and interacted with the flood-affected people. Dr. Biswa Sarma assured that all necessary measures would be taken to support those who have suffered losses due to the flood. Additionally, he addressed a press conference at the office of the Deputy Commissioner in Silchar, where he briefed the media about the flood situation across the district. Apart from Assam Chief Minister, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke to Chief Minister of Sikkim and the Governor of Manipur, taking stock of the current flood situation and landslide there. Sikkim's Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang wrote on X, and I quote him here, "Honourable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, on behalf of the people of Sikkim, I extend my heartiest gratitude for your kind concern and support regarding the landslide and flood situation in the state. Our state administration remains fully committed to managing the situation and providing all necessary assistance to those affected. Thank you once again for your kind concern, sir." Unquote. Now, on the second day of the visit to France, India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal held important meetings to boost trade ties and strengthen partnership. He also met with the top CEOs from global companies like Renault, EDF and L'Oreal to explore cooperation in transport, energy and manufacturing. Now, these talks could lead to new investment and innovation between India and France. India's Minister Piyush Goyal also met with France's Minister of Economy and Nigeria's Minister of Industry and Trade, reinforcing India's commitment to global and South-South cooperation. IEA's Executive Director expressed strong appreciation for India's Ujjwala Yojana, recognizing it as a transformative step towards clean cooking and women's empowerment. He also emphasized that EVs represent the future of sustainable transportation, echoing India's growing leadership in clean energy solutions.
Ujjwala program, bringing clean cooking to the hundreds of millions of households, is another success story, together with providing electricity access to Indian villages. So India had major achievements in terms of energy in the last couple of decades, which could be a source of inspiration for many emerging and developing countries.
Now, Bharat's first polar research vessel, or PRV, will be made in India. A landmark Indo-Norwegian collaboration takes shape with the Memorandum of Understanding signed between India's Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Limited along with Norwegian Kongsberg Maritime to co-design and build India's first PRV for National Centre for Polar and Ocean Research. The state-of-the-art ship will support polar and ocean research, strengthen India's climate science capacity and power Atmanirbhar Bharat's vision. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz will be in the US to meet President Donald Trump on 5th of June. Neeraj Chopra Classic 2025, which was postponed earlier, will now take place on the 5th of July in Bengaluru. And Anmatyar culture inspires contemporary artwork of an Australian artist.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India Live. Now, Kremlin has asserted that Ukraine peace efforts are complex and that it would be wrong to expect any imminent decisions. The reaction came after delegations of the two varying sides met for barely an hour in the Turkish city of Istanbul without any breakthrough on proposed ceasefire. However, the talks did yield an agreement to conduct a new prisoner exchange. Here's more.
The latest round of peace talks between Ukraine and Russia held in Istanbul on Monday concluded with some positive developments. Both Russia and Ukraine agreed to hand over bodies of 6,000 killed soldiers. Although Moscow has rejected call for an unconditional ceasefire, it offered instead a partial truce of 2 to 3 days in some areas of the front line. Russia says it will only agree a full ceasefire if Kyiv gives up big new chunks of territory and accepts limits on the size of its army.
First, we have handed over our memorandum to the Turkish side, which consists of two parts. First, we have to achieve a real long-term peace. And the second part is what steps should be taken to make a full-fledged ceasefire possible. Moreover, in the second part, there is even a variety of options to enter this path or this path. The memorandum is quite detailed and worked through properly from our side. Therefore, the Ukrainian side decided to take it for study. If they study it, they will react to it, and we will see.
Ukrainian delegation gave a list of nearly 400 children it wanted Russia to return, but Russian delegation agreed to work on returning only 10 of them.
Regarding the children, we handed over a list of almost 400 children to the Russians, and they promised us to work out something in this field, but only up to 10 children. This is what their vision on humanitarian issues looks like.
Turkey proposed that Russian President Vladimir Putin, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and US President Donald Trump come together for a third round later this month. US President Donald Trump says he's open to the meeting. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, if there's only two problems of the German or even the European economies are suffering from, it would be Russia-Ukraine conflict and a historic meltdown of trade relations. Now, both the topics tie directly into the United States. And this week, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz will be in the US to meet President Donald Trump. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin. Lars, what is on top of the agenda for the Chancellor?
Thanks for having me. Well, you named the two problems we are facing. Now it seems the number one topic on the agenda for this bilateral meeting will be Russia's war in Ukraine. And rightly so. This geopolitical crisis, a war of aggression, in Europe and now in its fourth year. It's obviously the most pressing problem to be solved internationally. And we've been at a crossroads lately after US President Trump has often taken Russia's side in the conflict. He's blamed Ukraine for the war. He dismissed it as a regional conflict that the Europeans were supposed to deal with. And just very recently, over the past few weeks, Trump seemed to have come around again to see that Russia's Vladimir Putin might just be the aggressor and the one who will have to move towards achieving peace in the region. Anyway, now Merz has one clearly defined goal. He needs to convince Trump to increase pressure on Putin, to criticize and ideally sanction Russia, to pull any support from Putin, even if it's just words of encouragement or criticism of Ukraine. Merz will try to bring the US back to the table, hoping that economic sanctions from the US against Russia can force Putin to actually negotiate.
So much for the personality of the two leaders there. But is there anything substantial helping Merz win Trump's favor?
Yes, there is indeed. So Trump has long criticized Europeans for not investing enough in defense and the country's individual militaries. But it's exactly here where things are moving. Confronted with the reality of Russia's war in Ukraine and the US shying away from the conflict, Merz has said he wants to invest 5% of Germany's GDP into defense. 3.5% would go straight into the military, with the remaining 1.5% going into the country's infrastructure. That begs the question, of course, is that really a 5% pledge then? And yes, it is, because in case of a war, for example, a country located as centrally in the heart of Europe as Germany is, obviously we need a functioning infrastructure with rail, roads and bridges, airports and harbors and such. So indeed, Merz's plans for investment might placate Trump and ideally bring the US back a bit closer towards Germany and the European Union.
All right, thank you so much, Klaus, for joining us. Moving on. As the voting concludes, South Korea's Liberal Party candidate Lee Jae-myung is projected to have won the presidential election. The exit polls have showed a strong lead for the party over their conservative rival. According to local news network, Lee Jae-myung is projected to win by 50.6% votes versus Kim Moon-so at 39.4%. The election took place exactly 6 months after Yoon declared martial law in a surprise announcement. The acting leader of South Korea's Liberal Democratic Party said that South Koreans made a fiery judgment against the insurrection regime. Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk will call for a parliamentary vote of confidence in his coalition government after his candidate lost the presidential election on Sunday. Poland's Prime Minister said on Tuesday that a vote of confidence in the Polish government will take place on the 11th of June. Nationalist opposition candidate Karol Nawrocki narrowly won Poland's presidential election, delivering a blow to the centrist government's efforts to cement Warsaw's pro-European orientation. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has appeared at Tel Aviv's district court in a corruption trial on Tuesday. The trial is at the start of the cross-examination stage, fully 5 years after the trial opened. Netanyahu was indicted in 2019 on charges of bribery, fraud and breach of trust, all of which Netanyahu denied. The trial began in 2020 and involves 3 criminal cases. He denies the charges and has pleaded not guilty. Now, Bangladesh Bank has released images of 6 newly designed banknotes that will soon be in circulation. Notably, these new notes will not feature the image of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Bangladesh Bank Governor Dr. Ehsan Mansoor presented the new designs to Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus on Tuesday. According to a spokesperson for the central bank, the redesigned notes will instead showcase images of significant national landmarks, including Hindu and Buddhist temples. Meanwhile, all existing banknotes and coins featuring Mujibur Rahman will continue to be valid alongside the new series. And now from the world of sports, to begin with cricket first, one last match awaits to crown a new IPL champion as Ahmedabad is all set to witness the grand tussle between Royal Challengers Bengaluru and Punjab Kings on Tuesday. Both the teams are all set to lock horns for one final time in IPL 2025 with an aim to end their 17-year-old title drought. Here's more.
The stage is set for the finale of the Indian Premier League 2025. It's the Royal Challengers Bengaluru who will be locking horns with Punjab Kings at Ahmedabad. RCB booked spot in the final after getting better off Punjab in the qualifier 1, while Punjab Kings got a second chance in qualifier 2, where they defeated Mumbai Indians. PBKS and RCB had finished number 1 and 2 in the league stage with 9 wins, 4 defeats and 1 no result each in 14 games. There was very little difference between their net run rates too. While PBKS had defeated RCB in Bengaluru, RCB won the reverse fixture in Mullanpur. While Rajat Patidar's Bengaluru were flawless in away conditions, becoming the first team to win all 7 away games in the league stage of an edition, the Kings were clinical in managing defeats, as Iyer's side never endured 2 defeats in succession. PBK's success in IPL 2025 has revolved around their uncapped Indian players, while RCB have traditionally been the home of the game's biggest superstars. They have shed that persona this time. Their captain Rajat Patidar has 4 international caps to his name. Their vice-captain Jitesh Sharma 9. RCB, who finished runners-up in 2009, 2011 and 2016, will be appearing in their 4th IPL final. PBKS have been in an IPL final only once before, in 2014, when they were known as Kings 11 Punjab and lost to Kolkata Knight Riders. Their captain Shreyas Iyer is the first IPL player to lead 3 different teams to the finals. He was captain of Delhi Capitals in 2020 final and led KKR to the title in 2024. Both teams will now set out to end their 17-year-long title drought when they clash for one final time in IPL 2025 final. One team will bask in the ecstasy of victory, while the other will endure the agony of near-miss heartbreak. Sports Desk, DD India.
In athletics, the Neeraj Chopra Classic 2025, which was postponed earlier, will now take place on the 5th of July at Bengaluru's Sri Kantirva Stadium. Originally set for the 24th of May, the event was rescheduled due to security considerations. Billed as India's first ever international javelin competition, the event is a collaboration between Neeraj Chopra, JSW Sports, AFI and World Athletics. Now, emerging artist Martin Hagen showcased ancient designs in a contemporary way in his first solo exhibition in Australia. Using native crosses and ochres, Martin creates sculptures and portraits that share cultural stories passed down through generations. And that's all for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Namaskar.